Are you sorry we drifted apart? Yes. I wanted to ask Lucy, why did you wait till Desiree was 17 before you told her? And why then did you decide to tell her at that time?
She was asking me. I waited because I wanted to tell Elvis first. And then I never wanted to tell him after he died.
She didn't tell me actually when I was 17. A friend of hers had told me.
Yeah. Why all of a sudden you said that you didn't want to tell Elvis that he was her father because it would be destructive to your child's life? Why? How do you figure giving your child her father and giving a father his daughter is destructive? I don't understand how you can see that.
I had other children too, and they had a very normal life. And Elvis was a monumental star, and it wouldn't have been just a normal life had it come out.
I have a question for Desiree. I know my kids can't keep a secret for 10 seconds, and you said your half sisters and brothers didn't tell you. I can't. Well, you said they didn't at that time.
They didn't.
And you
no,
and they knew about it before you.
When I was 17, this woman that had told me, had told me, and then I had sort of baited my younger sister, and I said, my father's Elvis, and she said, who told you? And I told her, and she said, well, don't tell Mother because she'll think I told you. So, we kept it all quiet. And even when I found out, I didn't go to Mother and tell her that I knew. I couldn't do that.
I was wondering if...
What's up? Wait, hang on. What's the matter?
I'm just thinking of something. If you're not looking for money, Miss Presley business, if you're not looking for money and everything, why are you bringing this out now to the public eye? Why are you sitting here if you're not looking for anything?
Well, number one, because like I said, it is my name, and that's what I wanted from my mother was the story. Everybody needs to know where they came from and what their background is. Everybody owes. And
well,
why do you have to wait so long? I mean, you're a grown girl now. Why don't you come up? You're getting me very upset. Here's what I wanted to say. Why now, when you don't want anything out of this relationship from Elvis Presley, except the fact that you, as a woman, know that your father was Elvis Presley? That's all you have to know. You're happy.
Because when I was 19, my name on my birth certificate is Presley. Mother did give me my name. I didn't know that until I was 19 and got my birth certificate, and I started using that name, Presley. And everywhere I was going, I was, being confronted, are you related to Elvis? And I would say yes, but I didn't know the facts, and it was awkward. So instead of going through my life defending myself, which I would have to do and continue to do, now the story's out and people know, and they can make their own opinion. I know who I am.
Here's the birth certificate about which you spoke.
Yeah, but who cares except you?
Well,
I don't care that everybody knows, hey, I'm Elsie. Hey, hallelujah. I don't care.
Well,
why do you care?
Can I just try here for a second? This is not a bad story, if you don't mind my saying. And as a person who has not only written but even sold a book in public, I think that's legal, and I don't think necessarily that makes them awful people.
I'm not saying they're awful.
But the point, to answer your question, is a lot of people care. I mean, this is a 20th century entertainment figure, and this, it is claimed, is one of his undeclared children until this year. So
there might be 20 of them.
There might be. You never know. Yeah. What?
Do either of you think that there are other illegitimate children who might start popping up?
We've already established that Deborah met you, I believe, outside a television station.
Right.
And said, I'm his father, I'm his daughter, too.
Yes.
And your encounter was brief, and you have not seen her since.
No.
What?
When did he have time to sing if he was so busy with all the other women?
When did he have time to sing? Well, I don't know. The guy had his own plane, Yeah.
I'm still not clear about her other.
She's still not clear. Let's straighten this out.
You say you were defending your other children, but they knew.
Well,
So why not just tell her?
Sorry, not till they were grown. They didn't know. I had a very assertive child, a niece, that always tried to find out things that she shouldn't. But she guessed, but I never came out and told her till Desiree was grown.
What I want to know is both of you ladies chose to sleep with prominent figures. I mean, you made that decision.
Right.
And neither one of you took any precautions not to become pregnant or not to have
Well, this was
children with people?
This was the 50s. That should be pre-pill, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I'm just curious about that. That you made that decision, you chose them. And the consequences. Yeah, so, you know.
Well, they're not. I don't know. You're not here to complain, right?
No,
Mrs. Brown?
absolutely no.
You're here to set the record straight. Yes. What's the matter?
Have they ever heard from?
I have no.
Have you ever heard from the children, Johnson children?
Have we heard from them?
Yes.
No.
No.
No, we have not.
No comment coming from the Johnsons. Are you there, caller? Go ahead. Thanks for waiting.
Yes, I am. I'd like to ask a question to Desiree.
Yeah.
Has she ever considered having a blood test to prove that she is actually Elvis's daughter? Yes, I have had the blood test, and it has proved positive.
Now, we should say that a blood test makes Elvis a candidate for paternity, does not necessarily absolutely prove that he is. You have a more important piece of evidence, and that is the poem. Isn't that so?
Right.
Tell me about that poem briefly.
Yes, Elvis wrote this beautiful poem to me because he knew I didn't like a lot of material things, and he sent it to me with some money for a gift one Christmas, and I had kept it secret and didn't want it revealed, but then I finally decided, yes, I would reveal it so the fans could see it, and Grayson said, don't do it because we own it, or claim they own it. Then we had it authenticated by 5 different people.
Including Charles Hamilton,
including Charles Hamilton,
is on record as saying this is Elvis's handwriting.
Right, and yes, they did, and he did, and several others, and it contradicted a lot of things that the Elvis associates are saying, that I never saw Elvis and he never knew me and all this stuff. But yes, I did know him, and yes, I do have a story.
Well, we certainly shouldn't be surprised if the estate is going to be somewhat defensive when it comes to paternity claims.
But we're not claiming anything from them. You know, Phil, we're not wanting money.
That has this audience baffled, may I say.
Well, I do not want it. I could have had the money if that's what I wanted. I really did not want that, and I didn't want it to me.
Okay. And we'll be back in just a moment. You called him Al, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Al. It was like a nickname, code name.
It was a pet name, really.
Right. Your story is in this book titled "Are You Lonesome Tonight?" The untold story of Elvis Presley's one true love and the child he never knew. And Steve, as we have established, just learned.
Well, referring to the other lady, I'm trying to understand your reasoning, and being a woman, I honestly can't, and I don't understand it.
Tell me what's you don't understand.
Because he was a very famous man. She could have done everything for her children, for all of them. And money is a big thing when you're bringing your children, and I just don't understand how she passed all this up.
First of all, I had a stepfather that was a very good father and still is a very good father to me. And for years, I thought he was my father. And money is not the most important thing, really.
Getting back to... I wonder if Desiree has had any contact with Priscilla or Lisa.
No, I haven't, but I would like very much to meet Lisa. I hope very soon.
Sir.
Desiree, I have heard that you had plastic surgery, and I was wondering if Elvis's pictures had any influence on what you had chosen.
Actually, there's a picture in the book that I was in a car accident, and yes, I did have my nose repaired. But there is a picture in the book before my surgery, and I look more like my father than I do now.
Thank you. You look more like your father at age 17, you think?
Yes.
Let me get it here. This one, right?
I didn't have a crush name.
Right here.
Yeah.
What do you think? There you are at 17. Is that Elvis Presley's daughter? And we'll be back in just a moment.
Well, guys, I've had an early morning this morning. Welcome to Defending Elvis Presley Fans Want the Truth. I'm not expecting many people to join us. It's very early. Half of my subscribers are in America, so many of you will watch this later. Good morning to you. I hope you've had a good sleep. We are doing a few episodes, live streams, covering this book. Now, I just want to make it clear, guys, I'm not trying to promote this book. I'm not trying to agree with this book. I'm just putting the information out there so you guys can make your own decision. Yeah. I don't really want to sway you either way. I want you guys to decide. We've already done one live stream this morning. If you want to go and watch it, part 1, which was more the introduction of the book. So the reason I play the Donahue interview is because I just think it gives you a bit of a feel for it. Yeah. So Kathy may join us. I don't know. She's in Australia. She is friends with Desiree, the author, who has been messaging me. We know that Joe at Rare Elvis Photos is covering this, you know, and doing a brilliant job of it. And he interviewed Desiree Matera, the author, the other night, and it was a brilliant interview, very interesting. So Desiree is a very interesting character. So what we've done the introduction, and we're now going to read chapter 1. The introduction was very long, yeah. So I understand this book gets a big reaction. Some of you are very upset with this book and are fed up with people saying that they're Elvis's kids or grandkids, whatever it is. I understand that as well, and I respect that. But what I do think we should do is just read one chapter at a time so that you guys can make a decision yourselves. And if Kathy wants to join us, because she's friends with Desiree, she's friends with Desiree, the author, we'll see how it goes. Yeah. So let's just read chapter 1, hopefully without the kids jumping down. And it's not a long, I don't think it's a very long chapter. We'll try and read chapter 1. If the kids do wake up, I'm going to have to cut it short and come back to you guys. Okay, it was a very long acknowledgement. Then there was an introduction. And I can tell that the author, Desiree Matera, he 100% believes this story. 100%. I can tell it's very, very obvious in the introduction of this book. Yeah. Chapter 1. Right, it says here 1939 to 1947. I remember it was one of my first memories. I was 3 years old, a crowd of relatives. So I'm guessing this is Lucy, yeah, the mother, the girlfriend of Elvis, the mother of Desiree. It was one of my first memories. I was 3 years old. A crowd of relatives had gathered in front yard and stood quietly under the tall oak trees. I saw some men splash a liquid around the base of our 2-story wood-framed house. A thin man threw a torch upon it and quickly jumped back. I heard a whoosh, a sound, and I felt the heat against my cheeks. And as the fire devoured my home, no one tried to put it out. I held on to my mother's leg and stared into the bright orange flames, wondering what it all meant. Everything had happened suddenly. The memory is a blur of sound, people, and colors. My father had just come home from a long trip. We had the usual feast to celebrate his return, and afterwards, the children were shooed upstairs so the grown-ups could drink and carry on. I was still awake when the party ended. Too excited by the noise to sleep, I crept downstairs and saw that my father sitting in his rocking chair. He spotted me, smiled, and stretched out his arms. I ran to him and jumped in his lap. My older sister later described my father, Alfred Joseph de Barbin, as a tall, handsome man with blue eyes and a thick greyish blonde hair. He was always well dressed, usually in a 3-piece suit, accented by a dangling gold chain that led to his pocket, a watch that he carried in his vest. He often tied a colourful cravat around his neck and was fond of knee-high boots, which kept shiny and polished. He was born and raised in Paris, and some members of his family were said to be prominent in the French government. In the early 1900s, a large group of my ancestors from both sides came to America and settled in Boston. My father met my mother when he was in his late 40s and she was only 16 years old. they were opposites. She was petite, just under 5 foot tall, with pale blue eyes, set off by black hair that hung past her waist. When she was combed it out each night, during the day she wore it knotted at the nape of her neck in chignon that was held in place by 2 large tortoiseshell hairpins. Both families scorned their marriage. His people didn't think mother had the proper breeding. Her family was from Nice and believed that anyone from Paris was a scoundrel. Besides, he was much too old. Despite these misgivings, the marriage was solid. Mother had 3 children, though only 7 survived. Mother had 13 children. What? Actually, this is the first time I've read this. He was much too old. Despite these misgivings, the marriage was solid. Mother had 13 children, though only 7 survived. In fancy, I was the last daughter and the next to last child. Just the first time I've read that. 13 children, 7 died. That's really surprised me. That's a lot. And 7 deaths. My family was part of a splinter group that migrated from Boston to Chalmette, Louisiana, a small French enclave a few miles from New Orleans. My grandfather, Louis James Bellevue de Barbin, had set off an early wave of immigration when the French government sent him to Louisiana as a munitions and customs official during the colonization of the 1700s and the 1800s. Prior to the Louisiana Purchase, many of his descendants chose to settle in Chalmette and New Orleans rather than returned to France, so we were amongst friends and relatives. My father served as county sheriff for a while and later had an interest in a cattle ranch in Houston that forced him to travel frequently. He was 75 when I sat in his lap last night, but I had no conception of age. He was energetic and a quick, a laugh, a sing. Let me just read that again. He was 75 when I sat in his lap that night, but I had no conception of age. He was energetic and quick to laugh or sing. He was proud of his French heritage and made all his children learn French before they learned English. French was the only language I knew at the time, and it was the only language that my mother ever spoke. That night, as he held me on his lap, he said, "Ma petite bille, you're going to be a beautiful woman one day and sing like a nightingale." He started to hum. After the ball, it was over, and he said, "Ma chérie, sing with me." He sang it a few times, and I tried to parrot the English lyrics. All of a sudden, he started coughing violently. He ordered me to get him some water. I ran to the kitchen, but couldn't reach the faucet. I ran back to tell him, but someone grabbed my shoulder and held me back. I peeked around their legs and saw my mother sitting on a couch with my father's head in her lap. She was hugging him and crying. My father was dead. Quite a beginning, guys. My father was dead. I found out later that he had tuberculosis. Oh, got to say that in the morning, guys. I found out later that he had tuberculosis. I can't even say it. Tuberculosis. As was the custom amongst the French immigrants, the relatives burned down our house the next day, thinking it would stop the spread of the disease. So they burnt the house down because they thought he died from a disease of tuberculosis. I had lost not only my father, but my home as well. The family was placed under the dominating hand of my stern maternal grandmother, Alicia Lachine Lunay. She was a heartless old woman, permanently unhappy about being uprooted from her beloved from being uprooted from her beloved niece. She hated America and Americans. She shrouded herself in mourning clothes, long black dresses and black bonnets, and peered down at us through wire-rimmed glasses. She walked with a cane. She was brandished about while condemning everyone to hell. So she walked with a cane, which she brandished about while condemning everyone to hell. Sounds like a really nice person, guys. So Geo, so it's tuberculosis. I can't say it. Tuberculosis. I can't say it. I think you know the word I mean, though. So let's have a look. My grandmother had never stopped hating my father, and the hatred spilled over to his children. We immediately became disposable. I can't say it. Jane, I can't say it. We had so much when my father was alive. The house was large and well furnished. We never wanted for anything. After he died, everything vanished in the fire. Anything else we had was confiscated by my grandmother, and my family became impoverished overnight. My grandmother forced my mother to work as a common maid and sent my 5-year-old sister, Mary, and me back to Boston. My younger brother and 2 sisters remained in Chalmers. I never knew why we were separated, but even at that young age, I sensed that my grandmother disliked me most of all. Your parents both have blue eyes, but you have green eyes, she told me once. That's a sign that you are evil. In Boston, we moved in with a widow named Nini Shadul, a kind woman in her 60s. No one ever explained who she was, though I recall someone saying that she was the wife of one of my grandfather's brothers. We called her Tonti Nini. She lived by herself in a magnificent 3-story house that was so tall that I could see the lights of the city from my bedroom window. Despite the pleasant surroundings, I was unhappy about being away from my family. Now, when I was 5, I went on an outing with some older girls and from the neighborhood. We were riding on a horse-drawn wagon in the country, making stops to gather flowers. I took off my shoes and sat on the wagon, dangling my feet over the side. The girls made me promise to sit there and not move while they ran off to play. I quickly became bored and decided to jump into the muddy waters a few feet away. When I landed, I felt a sharp pain in my foot. I stepped out and discovered that my foot was bleeding. The girl ran over and pleaded with me to stop crying. They told me not to tell anyone what happened. As the months passed, the pain in my foot increased. The girls were still afraid of getting into trouble and repeated their request that I not tell anyone. I obeyed and withstood the pain. Shortly afterwards, Tonte Nini told me I was too serious and sad for a child and sent me back home to my mother. I was pleased, but the pain in my foot tempered my happiness. Back in Chalmers, I attended a convent school and began limping. I was soon unable to wear shoes on the foot because it was so swollen and sore. The other kids at the school thought I was crippled and avoided me. With no friends, I turned my attention to schoolwork. I studied hard and won a merit award. I learned English, but found that it was my foot, not my language, that scared the other children away. I continued to endure the pain because my vow to my friends in Boston, and I didn't want to get them in trouble. Now I can hear footsteps. If the kids come down, I'm going to have to cut it off and do another part, guys, but I'll just keep going. My uncle Geoffrey Bellevue de Barbin arrived unexpectedly from France one day. He was a jolly man who looked a lot like my father, except his hair was darker and he sported thick, bushy sideburns. He was a doctor and asked me in French about my foot, and I decided to confide in him. I told him about the jumping off of the wagon into the muddy water. He examined the scar and told me there was something inside that must be removed. He convinced my mother to send me back to Boston so he could operate. When we opened my foot, he found a green thorn. It had entered near my toe. And in the year since the accident had traveled almost to the center of my foot. My God. He said it was a miracle that I didn't lose my foot from an infection. It was. I was elated because not only was the pain gone, but more importantly, I could wear a shoe. I could become just like the other kids and wouldn't be shunned anymore, free from the pain and stigma that my personality began to blossom, and I soon had many friends. So very sad, guys, very sad. The pain and the fact that she was bullied, picked on, not accepted because of the way she walked. My mother continued working as a maid, cleaning churches and large houses, scrubbing floors, washing windows, working herself to the bone. She would come home exhausted and depressed. She never smiled anymore. I knew that her opportunities were limited because she couldn't speak English. My father's last words about me growing up to be a beautiful singer stuck in my mind, and I wanted to be so successful. I wanted to be successful so I could help my mother. Hi, beautiful. I know. Where's morning, beautiful? Is Tina awake? I might be charging next to my bed. I'll go and have a quick look. Say hello to Team Elvis. Say hi, Team Elvis. We're waking up.
Hi, Team Elvis.
Okay, go and see if you can find it. You can use this one if you want. Okay. Right, I've only got a couple of pages left. Where are we? So, to be successful so I could be help my mother. I practiced singing every day, learning everything from an opera to popular tunes. I learned to control my voice and alter the tones. When I was 11, the nuns at the convent asked me to sing a large, beautiful church, St. Anthony's at Padua, and I sang high soprano solos in Latin at Mass. I didn't know she could sing. I didn't know she could sing, guys. Didn't know that. One day, the house mother told me that my grandmother had come to see them. They said that I would be moving away soon. I couldn't believe it. Here I was finally settling in somewhere and had to leave again. When I got home, there was a party going on. The house was full of strangers, mostly men. Well-dressed women introduced herself and told me to call her Aunt Victoria. After dinner, I was asked to sing. That was a routine at our parties, and I loved performing. I had recently learned the songs Mother Macrae and dedicated it to my mother. I could see the tears in her eyes, and I sang. She told me later that the strangers were friends of my grandmother and had come to visit because of me. They were interested in helping me study music. They would finish us with a nice home and things wouldn't be as hard anymore. My mother could give up her terrible job, and I was thrilled that I was only 11 and already my singing had helped. See if it's over there charging. Have you looked? Just use this one for now. It does work. Or do you want to put something on here? Okay. A few days later, my mother went off to live in a wonderful new home in Monroe, Louisiana, and I was put in the care of Aunt Victoria. She was 40 and tall, with short curly black hair. She was obviously wealthy because she had a closet full of fur coats and adorned herself with diamond rings, earrings, necklaces. She began dressing me in her image. I loved the new clothes and acted out fantasies in the mirror, playing the part of a sophisticated lady out on the town. My hair was long and black like my mother's, and I experimented with different styles. Aunt Victoria caught me primping one day and said, "Lucy, you're a very pretty girl, and your breasts are very large. You look older than you really are. Some young man might be interested in you. Don't tell anyone how young you really are." I didn't like that. I was self-conscious about my breasts, and I wanted to look like my friends. Their bosoms were flatter, and they could wear smock dresses. I was always trying to hide my figure under the baggy clothes. 2 weeks later, Aunt Victoria said that my grandmother was coming to discuss my future. She arrived promptly and ordered me to cooperate with the family wishes. She said a green-eyed girl like me would go wayward if she didn't get married. I couldn't believe what she was saying. Married? I was just 11 and I had never even had a boyfriend. I don't know anyone to get married. I don't know anyone to get married, I said. I don't want to get married. I have to study, she told me. She told me that I didn't have to worry about finding a husband. It was arranged. There was a nice man who thought I was pretty and had agreed to marry me. I would be taken to him in Jackson, Mississippi. Horrible, guys, horrible. Right, we haven't got that much longer. No, I will not do this, I said. My mother will not agree to this. My grandmother told me that if I don't do as I am told, my mother would be thrown out of my new home and forced to work as a maid again. Do you want to see your mother work herself to death? She admonished. I was then instructed to tell my mother that getting married was my idea and I would be happy. A week passed and I thought it had all been a horrible dream. Then Aunt Victoria and my grandmother came and told me to pack my things. They put me in a black car and drove me to Mississippi. I was introduced to a man, and I remember having seen at my house when I sang that he was tall, about 6 foot, thin, had a ruddy complexion, dark reddish hair, and streaked with grey. He was at least 45 years old and smelled of alcohol. He was to me my husband. I had never been kissed now, and I was to be the wife of a 45-year-old man. I was taken to a wide grey house with tall ceilings and dusty rugs. The man's sister came to stay with me and prepare me for the wedding. She looked like the house, drab and grey. She kept asking me, "What's wrong with you?" Because I was pale and frightened. I was so afraid that I kept throwing up in the bathroom. A second woman, equally unpleasant, came in and handed me a dismal skirt, a blouse, a jacket to wear at my wedding gown, and I was told that the man didn't want anything special so as not to attract attention. I knew it was because of my age. The woman left me alone to dress. I stared in the mirror, trying to understand why all this was happening. I kept telling myself that God had a reason for everything. I thought of running away, but where could I go? I was in a strange city, and even if I did escape, they would force my mother to go back to work. I tried to stay strong. I brushed away the tears. No one would see them. I was taken outside and put in a car between the man and his sister. No one said anything. I remember it was raining and dreary, and I was brought before a man dressed in black, a justice of the peace. He mumbled some words without smiling and then ordered me to say, "I do." I did as I was told. With a strange man beside me and 2 strangers standing behind me, I was married. We were driven back to the house. The woman left. I was alone with the man, and that night I tried to stall as long as I could to keep him away. I knew something awful was going to happen, but I didn't know what. No one had told me anything. He kept approaching me and putting his hands on me. I pushed him away and I ran upstairs and hid in the closet, and I got on my knees and begged God to let me wake up with this horrible nightmare. All right. Right, I'm just going to put this on for you guys. Say good morning, kids. Good morning. How you going? Did you have a good sleep? Right, let's play this, guys.
I love dinner for Yes.
I want to know, what's the point of ripping up the birth certificate? I don't understand.
Oh, because I had an emotional state at that time because I thought he had met someone else and fell in love with someone else. And it's just a woman's heart. I just thought I'll never tell him that he's found someone else.
Are you there, caller? Go ahead. Yeah.
This is the summer of Elvis. It's his special summer. It seems to me an interesting fact that this news comes out this particular summer. The book is written this particular summer for someone who is not interested in money. You're certainly going to gain from this.
Well, thank you for that comment. I wrote the book in '84. I still hated to go through with it. I mean, you can ask my publisher, my co-writer. I still didn't want to do it, but I didn't hold it till this year. It wasn't my choice. They had other projects.
I wonder, is Mrs. Brown going to write a book?
Yes, it's the... Is the caller there?
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
Well, I believe that the both women up there are ridiculous because they knew that the men are married.
What?
I feel that both women on the show are ridiculous.
Why do you say that? Please make your point.
Well, they have no rights, no claims to anything. Because they knew the man was married, and I don't feel like they have any rights or any claims to anything at all. I feel like they wanted to pray, well, they paid the price. They brought these children in this world. As far as I'm concerned, they're home wreckers.
You want to talk to them? Anybody want to talk to her? Hang on, Elsie's back in this thing. Yay, Elsie!
No, I just want to say, I think you're great to come up and bring all this stuff out. It's sort of like a backstreet romance, you know?
Yeah.
And it can happen in life.
Yeah.
It has happened, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What does Desiree's stepfather think of this?
How does your stepfather, the one you love who raised you?
He's very supportive. He said I have a right to do it, and
I just have a comment.
Yes, go ahead.
I have a comment. I wouldn't want to be sitting up there telling national television that I was the other woman.
No problem.
It's not a problem to you.
No problem.
Yeah, I've got to get some other folks in here. We'll be back in just a moment.
Right, so we've done well. We've only got 2 pages left. So I'm playing that just to give you a feel for things. Please understand, I'm not trying to sway you either way. I'm not trying to tell you to believe it or not believe it. I'm just reading the book. We're going to do one chapter at a time. Obviously, we've got lots of other books that we're going to read. Last night, we did read chapter 2 of this book. I know this book gets a big reaction, but the chapter 2 didn't say anything bad about Elvis. It was very normal, interesting. There was nothing nasty in chapter 2. So we're going through a lot of books at the moment. Right, so let me carry on, try and read the rest of this. So you can tell that Lucy's been pushed into a marriage very, very young with a drunken man who's in his 40s. And I think she said she was only 11. I'm not really sure. Is that right, guys? Right, let's have a look. So here we go. I knew something that's not the bit. Yes, I knew something awful was going to happen, but I didn't know what. No one had told me anything. He kept approaching me and putting his hands on me. I pushed him away. I ran upstairs and hid in the closet. Go on then, guys. So it's the 1st of December. It's the 1st of December, and guess what? The elves who have been hiding for a year have come out. And they even get what's that chocolate thing called you get?
Oh, I got a snowman.
A snowman and a chocolate calendar.
No, I didn't.
So They have to put them to sleep. No, they disappear every night, don't they?
No.
What do they do every night?
They make a mess.
They make a mess. Well, come over, Tina. Come and show me your elf.
And there's a message in here. I read
Wow, let's read the message.
I already read it.
Right, come over, show Team Elvis your elves.
Look, I saw a message not in there, but now there's a message.
Show them both. There we go. They got their elves, guys. 2024. So it says we are back to have some fun and tell Santa how good you have been. Your elves love you.
Yes, yes. This is Bria. This is Shivani. This is Talia, and this is me.
So these are Chelsea elves. Obviously, if you support Chelsea Football Club.
I don't. Why is it Chelsea? What are these elves?
They're actually getting quite old, aren't they? Come, so look. They've been in this house. You know that my grown-up children who are now 14 and 15 and 18. No, 14, 16 and 18.
Not old. They're the same.
Yes, my grown-up children used to have these same elves.
Wait, this elf is bigger. Where's the hat?
Thank you, guys. Go and see if it's in the lounge. It might fall off.
No. She didn't have a hat.
I know. They are very cool. Christmas is here. Christmas is here, guys.
But there's no presents.
I know you get presents soon, but not yet. So Adrian likes Man United. When I was,
So they get presents.
they're very
today.
excited. So when I was, no, not today. No. Did you have a good sleep?
No. Yeah.
Yes, you did.
I have a bad dream.
You had a bad dream. What about? It doesn't matter. You probably
Scary doll.
Scary doll. That's not nice, is it? Well, these ones are not scary. These ones are not scary. These ones are happy and friendly and kind.
All pink. It was pink.
Wish I had. I didn't have one of these when I was a kid.
Had yellow hair and it had yellow lips.
Right. Okay. I'll quickly read this last little bit, and we're done. Right. I know you're in there. I'm tired of waiting. You come out right now. Right. Okay. All right. Actually, no. I won't read that bit because the kids are here. I'll wait a bit, guys. Right. So what we can do is play the rest of this video, which I thought was extremely interesting.
But I want to read the sneaker.
Yes. I think that if all the claims are true, I really think that she has tried to live Desiree's mother her life with dignity. If these claims are true, on the other side of the coin here, and that in this day and age, maybe someone who's not greedy is not to be believed. And not to be believed.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's funny. This is brought out after both fathers.
I've only got one page left.
Thank you, Mr. Donahue. I wondered how the children feel about suddenly
okay.
having their private lives exploded. You know, their mothers promoting them and putting them into the public view. How they feel, if they feel a little resentful toward
My
mom.
mother's not promoting me. I'm the one really that got my mother to do the book for me. It was very difficult for her. And
my mother wouldn't have done it if I hadn't jumped in and filed a lawsuit either.
Yeah.
Did Elvis have the drug problems that the press painted out to have?
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Did Elvis have the drug problem painted by the press?
Oh no, not like it.
that
It was
one,
medication addiction. It really wasn't. It was drug related, of course.
This is for Steve. I was wondering who he thought.
Hollywood, California.
Yeah.
And you always hear some kind of gossip, some kind of rumor that who's gay, who's into it. You can always sense it later by going to a restaurant. You see that person with someone like that, right? So I can't believe that nobody has seen Desiree or her mother with Elvis. Nobody can substantiate that. Nobody saw them in a restaurant. Nobody saw them together.
That's
so anybody that loves you that much.
Let's get Lucy in.
Okay.
How'd you keep this so secret?
It was very hard to keep it a secret, but that it had to be a secret, Phil, and it was a difficult thing to do. But
What's the matter? If what? You stand, please.
If he suspected, towards the end, that last line that you said that he suspected, I hope what you're saying is true. How come it just hadn't been discussed? If he suspected it, he must have been suspected for a period of time.
Right, I'm just going to quickly read this last page. Yeah. We were driven back to the house. The woman left. I was alone with the man that night, and I tried to store as long as I could to keep him away. I knew something awful was going to happen. I pushed him away. I ran upstairs and hid in a closet. I got on my knees and begged God to let me wake up from this horrible nightmare. Instead, I heard a loud banging on the door. The voice was angry and cold. Hi, Jane. Hope you're well. I know that you're in there. I'm tired of waiting. You come out right now. I crawled deeper into the back of the closet. He started banging harder and shouting louder. He began throwing himself at me. Throwing himself at the door. I was terrified and began screaming. The door burst open. He reached in, dragged me out, and threw me onto the bed. He ripped. Right, hang on. Sorry, let's wait a minute. Let me just play a bit more of this.
He knew we were together intimately, and the name Desiree just rang a bell to him.
My question is to Lucy. How did you register your child in school? Because I know you have to bring your birth certificate, and if it has Presley on the birth certificate, how did you?
No, I always put my married name Greer on there.
But in the birth certificate, it said Presley, and
Yes,
can you get in
I
school?
was born by my stepfather's been my stepfather since I was 2.
But you have to bring your birth certificate to school. It says Presley, and yours. This audience is going crazy here.
Everywhere I use my baptism certificate for everything.
Film on now.
It seems that his memory is very important, and it seems if you have a great love for him, you would want to respect his memory and keep these illegitimate children, whatever, out of the
Public eye.
right.
I have to
We're
say,
the innocent bystanders. Why not?
Yeah.
well, the account in my mother's book is very good about Elvis. I think it really portrays him in the real way he was.
Desiree, can you sing?
Can you sing?
Oh, sing, not a word, no. Not at
I'd
all.
like to know who's listed as Steve's father on his birth certificate.
Brown.
That's why I go by the name.
Mr. Brown. Yeah.
How old is Desiree?
How old is Desiree?
So I'm trying to read the bad bits when the kids walk out the room. So let's have a look. I crawled. Right. I know that you're in there. I'm tired of waiting. You come out. I crawled deeper into the back of the closet. He started banging harder and shouting louder. He began throwing his body against the door. I was terrified and began screaming. The door burst open. He reached in and dragged me out and threw me on the bed. He ripped off my clothes until I was completely naked. I was so ashamed that I tried to cover up, but he spread apart my arms and then took my body. I never forgot the pain. Whoa! I'll just shut this door. Right, let's keep going. I think we've only got a page left, guys. I just want to try and get this page in when the kids are in the other room. To this day, Lucy doesn't realize or has refused to accept the fact that she was sold like a slave to the highest bidder. The party at her house was actually a discreet auction with Lucy as the prize property. Aunt Victoria was probably the wife of the local marriage broker, or possibly a marriage broker herself. Right, the last page now, guys. Lucy singing performance was geared towards titillating the buyers and opening their wallets. The winner of the auction was Richard Dixie WD and was an underachiever who for stake came from family aviation business and some minor real estate transactions. The house in the Monroe that's where offered Lucy's family may have been only part of the price he paid for the beautiful 11-year-old thoroughbred. So she was 11, yeah, Lucy. To some, this account may read as though it took place in another century. Actually, such marriages were not uncommon in 1947. The French have a tradition of arranged marriages and refer to them as marriages de convenience. In 1961, a study of Wesley de Camp, PhD, determined that the French have the highest frequency of marriages in the younger ages of all European countries. And in America in 1980, the census reported that amongst all married women, nearly 3.5 million women were married at the age of 15 or below. Broken down yearly, the National Center of Health Statistics reports that in 1982, the most recent year, it surveyed that there were nearly 10,000 girls in America who married at the age of 15 or below, including 67 at the age of 12, 198 at age 13, and 1,500 at 14. No state allows legal marriages below age 12, so there are no statistics for younger girls. These figures don't account for people who lie about their age on their marriage license, nor do they include 8 states that failed to report the age breakdowns in their figures. It is also significant that Lucy was brought to Mississippi to be married in 1947. The minimum legal age of a girl could be married with parents' consent in Louisiana was 16. The minimum age was 12 in Mississippi. So in Louisiana, it was 16, and it was 12 in Mississippi. I didn't know that. That's just so wrong, isn't it, guys? And the publication of this book in 1987, Mississippi has raised the age to 15, 1 year higher than the Alabama and New York. If one is inclined to believe that we've progressed beyond such archaic practices, consider the turnaround of the state of New Hampshire in 1925. The minimum age for girls in this forward-thinking state was 18, the highest minimum age in the United States, and the age of social reformers were pushing for a national law. By 1987, the minimum age for a girl could marry with parents' consent in New Hampshire was plunged to 13. Pretty crazy, guys. Pretty crazy. But that's it. That's chapter 1. So the whole chapter is, I don't know, mind-boggling, isn't it? All of it. Of course, it's a build-up to things. So what we really want to know is how she met Elvis and that whole story, so that we can look into it and decide if we think it's true or not. So we got chapter 1 in the bag. Now, I'm not going to be reading loads of chapters of this in a row. I'm going to dart between different books and just see how it goes. So can I just ask you guys, what are your views so far? How do you feel? Are you for or against? Are you on the shelf? Let's just play the last few minutes of this.
29.
Yeah. How much is he suing for? How much are you suing for, Stephen? $10.5 million. That's just punitive damages. That isn't all of it.
I would like to know what Desiree does for a living.
I do some modeling, and I'm into real estate as well.
Yes.
Are you going to deduct all living expenses that he supported you when you were growing up from that $2.5 million?
No.
So that doesn't count, huh?
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Are you there, caller? Go ahead.
Yes, I am.
Go ahead.
I wanted to say that I read Lucy DeBarman's book, and I feel that she must be a very strong woman. I admire her for protecting Elvis and his reputation and her family for what she thought would be a certain scandal, and I really wish her the best. No matter what anyone else thinks, she has all the
Steve,
what do you do for a living, Steve?
Pardon?
What do you do?
I wouldn't mind having a little piece of this book myself. There's a lot of curiosity. Are you lonesome tonight? Here is a young woman who says Elvis is my father, and that's of course the mother.
Yeah, did you vote for President Johnson?
Did you vote for him?
Yeah. 300.
So yeah, I think Philomena, I think this has come up before. Now, I completely understand the defending Elvis thing, yeah. But I always have to say this: we are not just a defending Elvis channel. We are an Elvis channel. We will discuss everything Elvis. But I also completely understand some people don't like this book. Some people are very upset with this book. Just like we read chapter 2 of this book, yeah, and there was nothing bad in chapter 2 of this book. The chapter 2 in this book was very sweet and discussed Elvis in 1952, him at Hume's High, all his friends, how he got bullied, how he dressed, and just the daily life of it. Yeah, we definitely do gossip on here. A massive part of this, our live streams are gossip, 100%. We debate, we share facts, we share information, we'll read different books. I'm definitely going to read all kinds of books. Now, one of the books we've been reading is this book, Elvis's Maid, Nancy Rooks. I think we're on chapter 3. I've loved this book, loved it. So we're discussing, you know, that's the point of view of the maid, yeah. So then we've got another book, Joe Esposito's ex-girlfriend. Now we were on chapter 3, I think, of this book. Really interesting, really interesting. And so bit by bit, we are going to go through all different kinds of books. Like, look at this book here that Elaine got me. This is fascinating, this book, fascinating. It's got nothing to do with defending Elvis. It's just a brilliant book. It talks about the 68 comeback special. It has some really good write-ups in it, and we're going to go through this book. So, you know, we're an Elvis channel. We're going to cover everything, yeah? And I find this book fascinating. Fascinating. So, you know, I try to please everyone, but it's not possible because there's too many different topics. I'm in with, you know, we're doing this, obviously we're reading this book this morning, yeah, but yesterday we were reading this book, Anita and Elvis. We love their romance. It's beautiful romance, but even in this book you get to a certain point where in this book that she's starting to talk about some negative stuff that is a bit upsetting to do with Elvis, but this is a beautiful romance that goes wrong. So we're still going to talk about it. We're still going to read this book, but some things in this book you're going to find are a bit uncomfortable, but there's also many parts of this book that are beautiful, that are just lovely, that describe an Elvis to us that is just magical, yeah, and amazing. So, you know, it's a difficult topic, Elvis. In fact, the more that we dig in the Elvis world, you know, I would say I'm amazed at the different things that we learn every day. It's literally, it's like I'm blown away just how interesting Elvis was, his life. Yeah. It's just all fascinating. It's all fascinating. So anyway, guys, so this is the second episode we've done this morning. So we've done this morning was the introduction to the book Are You Lonesome Tonight by Desiree Matera. Then we also have done now chapter 1. We've played some of the Donahue TV interviews, and you guys just have to put the facts together and come up with how you feel, whether you're for or against, whether you're indifferent, whether you're not interested, or whether you're just on the shelf. I'm not going to sway you guys in any way. Obviously, I have my own view on it. Yeah, there's lies and truth in every book. Angel Eyes, don't worry, we're going in a minute. You can go and charge your phone up. So, I think the next book I'm going to read in a few hours is probably chapter 7 of this book. This is probably my favorite book at the moment. So that is my plan. You need to charge up your phone, Angel. So I think, Elizabeth, I did try and message Elizabeth. She's probably asleep. So hi, Elizabeth. Thank you for the coffee you got me. So any of you guys want to get me a coffee, go ahead and press the coffee button, hit the thanks button, or a super thank you, whatever you call it. Please subscribe, please like. If you want to be a member, we do have a new member. Where is she? No, we've got 2 new members. Let me just tell you who they are. I really do appreciate the people that become members. It's so kind of you. It means a lot to me. It shows me that you like what I'm doing. And the 2 members, the new members are, it could be 3 actually. No, there's 3 new members. We have Caroline Gilbert. Thank you so much, Caroline, for becoming a member. We have Susan, and she's got a brilliant YouTube channel called Let's Talk with Susan. Let me just show you it. These are the members. So Caroline Gilbert is the newest one. We've got Susan with her brilliant YouTube channel, Let's Talk with Susan. And then the other member is PNTRS with Janet KS. So hi, PNTRS with Janet KS. Thank you. We've got Mary. Thank you, Mary, for becoming a member. Obviously, Elizabeth. Thank you, Elizabeth. Elizabeth has been very helpful, very kind to me. We have Betty Heath. And we have Colleen Lewis. Thank you, Colleen. Mr. Chips. Thank you, Mr. Chips. And we, of course, we have Angel Eyes. So this is the last sort of 10 people. A lot of it is showing just people that rejoined. So Nutria, Nirvana, and Karen, and Audrey, Badger, and Emily, and Ayisa. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. So it's 1st of December. So for my household, my wife takes 1st of December very seriously. She starts putting out all the decorations for Christmas. The kids get their calendar where they can open a chocolate every day, and obviously the elves come out. And so today will be a bit of a sort of cozy, sort of Christmassy feeling day. So I wanted to do my live streams nice and early to sort of beat all that. And the plan is now we're going to go off and watch some Christmas movies. Okay, guys, we're out of here, and I'll see you all later. Now, of course, I understand many of you are in America, so you're going to watch this later. It's the middle of the night for you guys. Good morning to you. Hope you had a good night's sleep. Hope you enjoy our live streams we've done this morning. We're going to probably do 2 more live streams today at some point with the books. We may do a Defending Elvis topic as well. We'll just see how the day unfolds. Yeah, the Advent calendar. That's it. I knew it had a name. Yeah, a special thank you to the members. It's only $1 a month, guys. It's nothing, but it makes a big difference to me. It really does. I really appreciate subscribers and members. Of course, all of you guys are so welcome here, and I really do appreciate all my subscribers. It's very important to me. I do try and keep you all happy. It's difficult keeping everyone happy because too many topics, but I do my best. I do my best. So I send you all love, and happy 1st of December. Let's have a brilliant December. Let's really enjoy Christmas and really appreciate everything. Appreciate life, appreciate our families, and appreciate the day. Take care, guys. All the best to you.